So this is Wolf Alice and White Horses. Such a great tune, great lyrics, really great vocals. The hook on this is really amazing. It sounds like an open G tuning, and I've seen one other person sort of interpret this riff. And the thing is that when you watch live performance, there's when the young lady who's in the video playing the guitar and doing the vocal, the pre-chorus and the chorus, she's fretting in a way that's not a standard open G. So what I have is I've got my low E string turned down to a C, and then I have the A string down to G. The D string is gonna stay D, okay? And then your G string is staying G, but the B string is down to A, and your high E string is down to D. So it's kind of a hybrid tuning, and the deal is that the main riff starts off on where you're playing the G and the B string at the 5th and the 7th fret. So your first finger on the 5th fret of the B string, and then it's a rhyming note on the 7th fret of the G string, and so you're lifting your pinky. And you're playing basically the last 4 strings predominantly. Everything else pretty much rhymes with the rest of the chords. So it'll go through this 4 times on the intro of it. And the drums come in. And so what you do on that turnaround is you just do 2. You start off on your pinky on the 8th fret, and you slide it back, and then it switches to this bar chord across the 5th fret. But you keep your 3rd finger there at the 7th. And this is where now you're into the same syncopation as what the verse is. So and across it, and when the beginning starts, so there's a little bit of this fluttering kind of thing that goes on overdubbed on top of the. I'm playing. So I'm on the 10th fret. So 10th fret for the B and the G string, and then you're on the 8th fret for the B string. And that's kind of the riff, and then you could change chord with it. But if you fret on the 10th fret of your D string here, there's all different kinds of ways to rhyme these chords. But anyway, once it finishes the verse and goes into the pre-chorus where she's singing "Know Who I Am," you're now with your pinky on the 5th fret of your G string. Know who I am, know who I am. Important to me. And so you go back to the 2nd fret. So you can play it as just a straight chord here, or you can get it up higher, so you can do this rhyming note on the 5th fret, so that's a G, because it's really a G chord, and then back down to, and then it goes to all 5th fret. So you've got, let me go back on that. So after you're going, and then it goes, know who I am, it's important to me, that I can to keep the wood from the trees. So that chord right there is all 5th fret on your A, D, and G string, or you could bar all the way across. And then it repeats it again, know who I am, it's important to me. So that's now on the 5th fret with 5th fret with your fingers on the all the way across. 5th fret on the E, on your what would be your E string. So and I imagine like in the studio they're playing it differently with different guitar parts, but live it's much different, I'm sure, because you have to have all the support. So it might be open tuning on the album version, but in order, when you see them play it, you can see that she's fretting on the 3rd fret and the 5th fret. To the chorus, I can stand you. So I'm just barring on the, so on the actual chorus, I'm just barring on the 5th fret. Or you could, it's the same, you could bar the last 4 strings. I like this. I like actually having them all rhyme by just on the 5th fret of your D string and your B string, and then just playing the last 4 strings, or just you can bar the first 2. Now you can play that 2nd chord of the chorus up here, and I'm on the 10th fret, just on the D and the G and the B string, and letting everything else run, just sing out. So. I'm muting these last 4 strings, and I'm muting the top 2. And you can rhyme it like this. There's different ways you can play some of the other chords too that sound pretty cool, because it's all kind of open tuning, and there's this really great droning going on in the whole thing. But that's kind of the gist of the whole song. So enjoy.